My hands are legit shaking. Right now, NGL, I never thought I'd be posting anything like this, let alone about my life. I'm Hank, 58, been married to Brenda for almost 30 years. We built a life, a family, a whole damn empire, or so I thought. But something just broke, something Carl said, and now everything I thought I knew about my wife is crumbling fast. This is where it all started to go wrong. Okay, so where do I even begin? It feels like just yesterday I was signing off on the last client transfer, officially closing out my career. 35 years, man. 35 years building Miller and Associates from scratch, grinding it out, making a name for myself. Retirement. That was supposed to be our new chapter. Brenda's and mine. I envisioned us traveling, spending more time at the lake, just being. But even as I finalized those last few forms, there was this hollow ache, this quiet understanding that the firm wasn't the only thing that had taken a toll. Our marriage, that. Yeah, that got the brunt of it too, NGL. All those late nights, missed dinners, prioritizing work over everything else. I always told myself we'd make up for it, soon, after retirement. Brenda, she's always been particular, reserved. But for the last few years, it's been next level. Our intimacy, practically non-existent. Low libido, she'd say, just stress, Hank. And I bought it, or at least I tried to. What else could I do? Then there were these trips. Every other week, like clockwork, she'd be off to Mansfield, always for the same reason, her ailing mom or her stressed-out sister Beth. And for the longest time, I just accepted it. I mean, family, right? Beth always had some drama going on. And Brenda's mom, well, she was getting older. It seemed legit. I spent the better part of the last year simplifying our lives, prepping for this new phase. Sold the boat, got rid of my fancy sports car. Didn't need all that baggage anymore. We were going to downsize, travel light. I even tried to get Brenda excited about it. I've got a big surprise, I'd tell her, hinting at all the freedom we'd have. But she'd just nod, maybe offer a tight smile. That's nice, Hank. Never any real curiosity, no spark. It was frustrating as hell, TBH, like I was talking to a brick wall. Last week she called from Mansfield, said she needed to extend her trip. Beth's really struggling, Hank, she said, her voice a little too calm, a little too rehearsed. Just too much on her plate right now, and Mom needs me. I sighed, told her it was fine, but a sharp, unsettling gut wrench hit me. Beth, good old Beth, Brenda's younger sister, the queen of bad decisions, especially when it came to men. She'd been caught cheating on her husband twice. Her whole family, honestly, had this weird streak of dysfunction that Brenda always seemed to navigate by being the responsible one. But still, the connection. It was a quiet red flag I just ignored for years. Then, yesterday, my phone buzzed. It was Carl Peterson, an old friend from the firm, now a private investigator. He just sent a quick text. Hey Hank, saw something kind of weird. Brenda using Rhonda's name for a business trip? Thought you should know. My heart hammered. Rhonda? Brenda's personal assistant? What the hell was he talking about? Brenda hadn't had a business trip in years, not one that needed an assistant, let alone using one's name. I called Brenda immediately, my hands suddenly clammy. Hey honey, she answered, her voice breezy. Everything okay? Yeah, fine, just checking in. Still in Mansfield? I tried to keep my voice casual, but it felt like gravel. Yep, just finishing up here. Beth's feeling a little better. She sounded so normal. Too normal. My gut screamed, liar. I hung up, my mind racing. Carl wouldn't just make something like that up. So my next call was to Sarah Jenkins. Sarah heads the administrative staff at Brenda's office. She'd know if Rhonda was assigned to Brenda for anything. Sarah, hey, it's Hank Miller. Quick question about Rhonda. Hank, how are you? Sure, what's up? Just wondering if Brenda had Rhonda on any kind of business travel recently, or, used her name for a booking or something. There was a beat of silence on the other end. Brenda, no, Hank, not for months. Rhonda hasn't done anything for Brenda directly since before she went remote last year, honestly. Why? An ice-cold chill, the kind that makes your teeth ache, ran down my spine. Months, not She's on a trip now, not B. She helped Brenda last week. Months. It didn't add up. None of it added up. All those Mansfield trips, the ailing mom, stressed Beth, the low libido. Rhonda's name, the puzzle pieces, which I'd shoved into place with brute force for so long, were now scattering, revealing a terrifying empty space beneath them. My wife, Brenda, my partner for 3 decades, had been lying. About Rhonda, about these trips, about everything. There was only one logical next step. One way to get the truth directly. I took a deep, shaky breath, pulled up Rhonda's number from Brenda's old contacts. My thumb hovered over the call button. I was bracing for impact, for whatever fresh hell this call was about to unleash. My thumb trembled as I pressed call on Rhonda's contact. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I half hoped she wouldn't answer, that I'd just get voicemail and a brief reprieve from what I knew was coming. But she did. "Hello, Hank?" Rhonda sounded genuinely surprised, maybe a little wary. "Rhonda, hey, listen, sorry to bother you, but I had a quick question about Brenda." I tried to sound casual, but my voice cracked on her name. "Sure, what about her?" "Carl Peterson mentioned something about you traveling for Brenda recently, using your name for a booking. Is that true?" There was a pause, a longer one this time. "Traveling for Brenda?" "No, Hank, absolutely not. I haven't done any travel bookings for Brenda in months, not since she started working from home more, and certainly not using my name for her trips. Why would I do that?" She sounded genuinely confused, a little defensive even. And that was it. That was the moment the floor dropped out from under me. Not a suspicion, not a gut feeling anymore. This was a confirmation. An ice-cold dread settled in my stomach, a sickening certainty of betrayal. My wife, Brenda, my partner for almost 30 years, was a liar. And not just about some small thing. My mind raced, trying to piece together the shattered fragments of my life. Brenda's old work iPhone. She'd kept it, swore it was just for travel, to keep her personal and business calls separate. She rarely used it, or so she said. It sat in her old desk drawer, usually charging, gathering dust. I knew her password, our anniversary date. I walked, almost in a trance, to her study. My hands shook as I pulled open the drawer, found the sleek black device, powered it on. It took a second to boot up, and then I was in. I went straight for the contacts. Scrolled down, B, C, D, and then there it was. Not under A, B, C. It was hidden way down, almost an afterthought. A single distinct contact. Jamie. No last name, no company, just Jamie. My blood ran cold. Who the hell was Jamie? I had never, ever heard that name from Brenda. Ever. I clicked on the contact. There was a sparse call history, just a few calls, but then I went to the messages. And that's where the real horror show began. Text after text, not frequent, but strategically placed. "Miss you. Can't wait for next week. Thinking of you, B." B, not Brenda. Just B, like a secret code. Like our secret code. The pattern was insidious. Calls when I was supposedly busy, texts during her Mansfield trips. Then I found it. The photo album. Hidden deep within the phone's gallery, disguised as an obscure folder. I clicked on it. My breath hitched in my throat. A gasp caught somewhere between my chest and my vocal cords. It was a beach. Crystal blue water. White sand. And there they were. Brenda, my wife, and a man. A lean, tanned man with a smile that was way too familiar. His arm was around her waist, her head resting on his shoulder. They were laughing. Another picture. Brenda, in a swimsuit I'd never seen, holding hands with him, walking along the shore. His face wasn't fully visible in all of them, but enough was there. Enough for me to know this wasn't an old friend, a colleague. This was intimate. This was them. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow, a gut punch that knocked all the air out of my lungs. My entire world, the one I had painstakingly built, the one I thought was so solid, so real, shattered into a million tiny, sharp pieces around me. I sank into Brenda's desk chair, the cold dread turning into a burning agony. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a mistake. This was a whole damn secret life. My mind, despite the emotional wreckage, clicked into investigator mode. I needed more. Proof. Undeniable, irrefutable proof. I knew Brenda had a separate credit card account, one she used for her personal expenses that I rarely looked at, trusting her implicitly. Not anymore. I pulled up her statements online. And there it was, a parade of suspicious charges, flights, not just to Mansfield, flights to places like Miami, Cancun, luxury resort bookings, high-end restaurants, places we never went to together, and what looked like expensive gifts, men's watches, designer shirts. The dates often coincided with her Mansfield trips. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely read the screen. Then a charge stood out like a beacon in the darkness. Mansfield Jewelers. A hefty sum. A ring, a watch? For him? The thought sent a jolt of pure, unadulterated fury through me. While I was selling off our assets, preparing for a simpler life with her, she was buying gifts for him. The cold dread gave way to a burning, focused anger. Not a rage that would explode, but a cold, simmering fury that solidified my resolve. This wasn't just a fling. This was an affair, an entire second life, meticulously hidden. The pattern was undeniable. Infidelity. Betrayal. I knew what I had to do. My kids, Jesse and Tara, they deserved to know. They deserved the truth, however ugly it was. I picked up my phone, my fingers still trembling, and called Jesse first. "Jesse, listen," I said, my voice hoarse. "I need you and Tara to come home. Now, it's urgent. It's critical." My heart was still a frantic drum solo in my chest, but my mind had shifted into a cold, calculating mode. The jewelry store charge. Mansfield Jewelers. That was the next piece of the puzzle. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the tremor in my voice, and dialed the number. "Mansfield Jewelers. How may I help you?" a polite voice chirped. "Yes, hello. My name is Jamie. Jamie, Thompson," I improvised, pulling a random last name from thin air. "I'm calling about a purchase made recently by Brenda Miller. I believe she used her credit card." There was a brief pause. "One moment, sir. Let me check." The silence on the line stretched, each second feeling like an eternity. I gripped the phone, knuckles white. "Ah, yes," the voice returned, sounding cheerful. "Ms. Miller, she made a purchase a few days ago. 2 Rolex watches, matching. A beautiful choice, if I may say so. Is everything all right with them?" 2 matching Rolexes. My world tilted. My vision blurred for a second. The shock so profound it was almost physical. Not 1, but 2 for them. I managed to stammer out, "Yes, everything's fine, just checking on something for her, thank you." I hung up before he could ask any more questions. The phone felt like a brick in my hand, 2 Rolexes, and then it hit me. A terrible, sickening thought. I bolted out of the study and down the hall to our master bedroom. There, behind a painting, was our small, personal safe. I fumbled with the combination, my fingers suddenly clumsy. Inside, nestled on a velvet cushion, was supposed to be my father's antique gold Rolex, a family heirloom passed down from my grandfather. It was my most prized possession. I hadn't worn it in years, but I checked on it often, just to see it, to feel its weight. The safe was empty. My heart sank, a heavy cold stone in my chest. Gone. Just gone. Brenda always hated that watch, said it was old-fashioned, clunky, but I loved it. She knew how much it meant to me. Now the pieces clicked into place with horrifying, brutal clarity. She didn't just buy 2 new Rolexes. She replaced something she considered old and something she knew held deep sentimental value for me with something new for them. The audacity, the sheer cold-blooded audacity. My earlier anger solidified into something much colder, much harder. This wasn't just a betrayal, this was a calculated insult. I immediately pulled out my phone again. This time I called Carl Peterson, my PI friend. "Carl," I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "I need you to do a full background check on someone. Everything, where he works, where he lives, marital status, kids, everything. His name is Jamie. I have his number. I need this yesterday." Carl, hearing the tone in my voice, didn't ask questions. "Consider it done, Hank. Send me the number." While I waited, my mind shifted to damage control. Separation. Divorce. It was inevitable now. I logged into our joint bank accounts, transferred a significant portion of my retirement funds into a new separate account. I pulled up investment portfolios, checked property deeds, safeguarding my assets. It felt clinical, detached, like I was disarming a bomb. Then I went back to my study. I systematically began cleaning it out. All my personal documents, photos, anything that held sentimental value or was sensitive went into a box. I scrubbed my computer hard drive of anything personal. Brenda wasn't getting access to anything more than she absolutely had to. I wanted to leave no trace, no breadcrumbs for her to follow once this all blew up. It was a preemptive strike, a silent declaration of war. Later that afternoon, I heard Brenda's car pull into the driveway. My body tensed. She walked in, bright and cheerful, carrying a small shopping bag. "Hank, darling, I'm back," she called out, her voice annoyingly light. She even gave me a quick hug, a peck on the cheek, which felt like ice against my skin. "Missed you," she chirped. The facade I had to maintain was chilling. I forced a smile, asked about her mother, about Beth. She spun her usual story, not a flicker of hesitation. My guts churned. A few hours later, Jesse and Tara arrived. They burst through the door, excited, laughing. "Dad, what's this big surprise? Mom says you're being all mysterious," Jesse exclaimed, Tara nodding enthusiastically beside him. They were so happy, so oblivious, and my heart broke for them knowing the bombshell I was about to drop. Just as Brenda was bustling in the kitchen getting drinks, my phone vibrated discreetly in my pocket. A text from Carl. I slipped away to the study, my heart hammering. There were half a dozen photos attached, clear as day. Brenda and Jamie walking hand in hand through a park, eating at an outdoor cafe, laughing intimately, kissing gently on a street corner. The evidence was irrefutable. And then a second text, a quick summary of Jamie's preliminary report. Full name, address, profession. And the kicker? Jamie is married with 2 young children, Hank. A steel resolve hardened within me. The rage, the hurt, it was all still there, but now it was channeled. My path forward was brutally, painfully clear. There was no going back. The detailed PI report from Carl hit my inbox early the next morning. I opened it with a grim sense of dread, but also a growing resolve. James Sullivan, that was him. Age, address, social security number, everything. Married to Debbie. 2 kids, Kevin, 9, and Kyle, 7. A whole damn family he was betraying, just like Brenda was betraying ours. And then I saw it. His place of employment, Mansfield Assisted Living Facility, Brenda's mom's facility. My blood ran cold, then boiled with a sickening rage. All those sick mom visits, all those worried calls, all of it, a complete, cruel, calculated fabrication. Her ailing mother was just a convenient cover, a smokescreen to facilitate her dirty affair. It wasn't about her mom or Beth. It was about Jamie. It was about them. The sheer audacity, the cold manipulation of her own family's concerns twisted my stomach into knots. She had gaslighted me, plain and simple, using empathy against me. I immediately called Carl. "Keep him on surveillance," I instructed, my voice tight. "I want everything. Photos, timestamps, who he meets, where he goes, every single detail. I need comprehensive evidence. Document everything for court." Carl understood, his voice grave. "Consider it done, Hank." Later that day, I sat down with Jesse and Tara. I looked at their bright, innocent faces and my heart ached. They were still buzzing about my retirement surprise. I couldn't tell them everything yet, not the full, ugly truth, but I had to prepare them for what was coming. "Kids," I started, trying to keep my voice steady, "your mom and I, we've been going through some things. Things that make me think we might need to make some big changes in our lives. Things that might affect all of us." I watched their faces fall, confusion clouding their eyes. "Whatever happens, just know that I love you both more than anything, and we're going to get through this together." Jesse, ever the logical one, started to ask questions. "Dad, what's wrong? Are you getting sick?" Tara, more emotional, just looked at me with wide-eyed, worried eyes. I couldn't bring myself to say more, not yet. Not until I had everything in place. My next call was to Carl Peterson, This time not as a PI, but as a divorce attorney. Carl, I need you to initiate pre-divorce proceedings. Discreetly, establish residency. I want a bulletproof strategy. I'm going for everything. Carl, who'd seen it all, listened patiently. Okay, Hank, let's make sure we dot every I and cross every T. This isn't just about winning, it's about protecting you. We talked for hours, meticulously planning out the legal moves, the financial strategies. I was leaving no stone unturned. The moment Brenda left for work the next morning, I swung into action. First, the locks. I had a locksmith come and change every single exterior lock on the house. I installed hidden cameras in key areas, the living room, kitchen, front door, just in case. I disabled Brenda's remote access to the smart home system, cutting off her digital control. My home was becoming a fortress. Then, the finances. I'd already moved my retirement funds. Now I opened brand new separate bank accounts, transferring all my personal savings. The joint credit cards? Canceled. All of them. The severance was swift, clinical, and necessary. Every shared financial thread was being meticulously cut. I spent the rest of the day in my office, which I had already mostly cleared. Now I meticulously gathered all the physical evidence. The printouts of Jamie's texts from Brenda's old phone, the hidden photos of them on the beach, her credit card statements detailing the luxury trips, the expensive dinners, the Mansfield jeweler's charge, the full PI report on James Sullivan. Every piece was a crushing blow, but also a weapon. I stood in front of the mirror, practicing what I would say. My retirement speech, my divorce announcement. Two incredibly different speeches, but they would have to merge into one devastating truth for Brenda. Brenda, this isn't retirement. This is the end of us. The words felt foreign, heavy. I practiced my tone, trying to find a balance between controlled anger and unwavering resolve. Later that evening, Brenda made an offhand comment that, in my new hyper-aware state, felt like a gift. Oh, Hank, guess what? Beth wants to have another girly day tomorrow. Brunch and some shopping in Mansfield. I probably won't be back until late afternoon. Her usual casual delivery, no hint of a lie. She was practically handing me the perfect window. As soon as she went to bed, feigning sleep beside her, I slipped out. I walked to her car, parked in the garage. With a small tool, I carefully, discreetly attached a tracking device to the undercarriage. It was small, magnetic, almost invisible. Now I wouldn't have to wonder where she was going. I wouldn't have to rely on her lies. I would know. Every move, every visit to Jamie, every sickening detail. The trap was set. The next morning, the air in the house was thick with an unsettling calm. Brenda, humming a tune, grabbed her purse and announced, "Off to Mansfield, honey. Brunch with Beth." She pecked me on the cheek, oblivious, and then the front door clicked shut. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, my phone buzzed, the tracking app springing to life. My breath hitched. She drove, not towards Mansfield proper, not to her mom's facility, but took a turn onto a less traveled highway. My heart pounded, a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I followed discreetly, keeping several cars between us, the tracker guiding me. She eventually pulled into the parking lot of a secluded hotel, one I didn't even know existed, a nondescript place clearly chosen for its anonymity. I parked a safe distance away, positioning my car to have a clear view of the entrance. My hands, despite everything, were still shaking as I grabbed my phone, switching it to video mode. And then I saw him, James Sullivan. He walked out of the hotel lobby, looking around cautiously. Then his eyes lit up as he spotted Brenda. They met, a quick, intimate embrace, a secret smile shared between them. He took her hand, and they walked back into the hotel together. Click, click, click. My phone captured every damning second. The video, the photographs, irrefutable. The cold, hard truth staring me in the face, my stomach clenched. But there was no shock left, just a deep, burning ache. I stayed for another hour just to be sure, before driving home. My priority was Jesse and Tara. I made sure they were busy with their homework, totally engrossed in a movie later, keeping them safely unaware of my actions. They didn't need to see this ugliness unfold in real time. They would see enough soon. Around noon, a delivery truck pulled up. The package contained an identical, brand new leather briefcase, a precise replica of Brenda's. This was a key component of my plan. As soon as the coast was clear, I went to Brenda's study. Her original briefcase was on her desk. I quickly, meticulously swapped them. The old one, with all its secrets, was now mine. Inside, tucked away in a hidden compartment, was the old work iPhone, the affair phone with all its texts and photos. I placed it deep inside the old briefcase. Then, the final touch. I pulled out a tiny, high-quality audio recorder I'd bought online. It was voice-activated, designed for covert operations. I carefully nestled it deep within a padded lining of the old briefcase, ensuring it was completely hidden. The listening trap was set. This briefcase, this seemingly innocuous object, would now capture everything. Stick around to the end to see how life's costly choices unfold. I also made sure my own phone was fully charged and set to record. It would sit in my pocket, capturing every word of the upcoming retirement party conversation. No, he said, she said, just undeniable audio proof. I wanted every word, every nuance, every lame, every desperate plea caught on record. I had already told Jesse and Tara that I had a big announcement about my retirement that evening and wanted them both there. Brenda, bless her oblivious heart, had confirmed she'd be home in time for dinner. The stage was set for maximum emotional impact. They deserved to witness some part of this, even if they wouldn't understand the full depth of the betrayal until later. Brenda finally returned home that evening, just as the sun was setting. She walked in chirpy and bright, her face flushed, carrying a few shopping bags. "Hey, honey, had a lovely day with Beth. Got a little something for you, too," she said, handing me a small, wrapped gift. A tie, a cheap tie. She was completely, utterly oblivious to the elaborate, crushing trap that had been meticulously set for her, the calm before the storm. I forced a smile, thanked her for the TMI, and then excused myself to the kitchen. I calmly prepared dinner, a simple meal, as if it were any other night. My hands were steady now, my mind clear. The chilling calm that preceded the storm of revelation was almost unbearable. Before I called everyone to the table, I took the old briefcase, the one with the recorder and the affair phone inside. I walked into the living room, paused for a moment, and then deliberately placed it on the coffee table. Not hidden, not obvious, just there. Seemingly forgotten in a spot where anyone could see it, but only Brenda would recognize its true damning significance. The fuse was lit, the dinner table was set, candles lit, a special meal I'd prepared. Brenda was at her usual seat, a bright, almost manic smile plastered on her face, already halfway through a glass of wine. Jesse and Tara sat across from us, their eyes wide with anticipation. This was it, the main event. My phone, recording covertly in my pocket, hummed faintly. I cleared my throat, picking up my water glass. "All right, everyone," I began, my voice steady, though my stomach was a knot of ice. "As you know, I've been talking about retirement for a while, and tonight I want to formally announce that as of this week, I am officially retired." Brenda's eyes widened, a flicker of genuine surprise, before she quickly plastered on a beaming, practiced smile. "Oh, Hank, darling, that's wonderful news. I mean, I knew it was coming, but still, a real milestone." She reached across the table, squeezing my hand, her touch feeling like a foreign object. "We're going to have so much time together, finally." Her feigned delight was sickening. She was playing the role of the supportive, excited wife perfectly. Too perfectly. I pulled my hand away gently. "Yes, Brenda, we are going to have a lot of time. And speaking of surprises, that's not the only announcement tonight." My gaze locked onto hers. Her smile faltered slightly, a tiny crack in the finitum. "The other surprise is that I am also filing for divorce." The air in the room instantly solidified. Brenda's smile vanished, her face draining of color. Her mouth opened, then snapped shut. Stunned shock. Genuine this time. Jesse dropped his fork with a clatter, his eyes darting between us. Tara just stared, wide-eyed and terrified. "What?" Brenda finally choked out, her voice a strangled whisper. "Hank, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? Is this some kind of joke?" Her shock quickly morphed into anger, then immediate gaslighting. You're tired. You've been working too hard. This is insane. You're imagining things. I kept my voice calm, level. No, Brenda, I'm not imagining anything. I reached under the table, pulled out the manila envelope I had prepared. I have quite a bit of evidence, actually. I slid the pile of photographs across the table. Photos of her and James Sullivan, hand in hand on the beach, kissing outside the hotel, laughing intimately. Her eyes darted from photo to photo, her face contorting with horror. What is this? Photoshop! You made these! She shrieked, her voice rising. This is a lie! I don't know this man! Really? I pushed the printed credit card statements towards her, circling the Mansfield Jewelers charge, the luxury travel. And what about the 2 matching Rolexes you bought? Or my father's antique gold Rolex? The one that's now missing from my safe? The one you used to complain about constantly? Her eyes widened, her jaw dropping. The missing Rolex. That had clearly blindsided her. Her denials faltered. I reached for the old briefcase sitting innocently on the coffee table. And you don't know Jamie? I pulled out the old work iPhone, unlocked it, and displayed the call logs and text messages. Her breath hitched. James Sullivan, to be exact. The one you've been having an affair with for months, using your mother's illness as a cover. The one who works at her assisted living facility. Her face went from pale to fiery red. You went through my things? You spied on me. How dare you? This is illegal, Hank, she screamed, her voice shrill. You're insane. You're projecting your own failures onto me. The gaslighting was in full force now. No, Brenda, I'm just documenting your failures. I pressed play on Byra's phone, and then on the tiny audio recorder I pulled from the briefcase. The room filled with the sickening sound of Brenda's voice. Intimate whispers. Laughs. Oh, Jamie, I miss you so much. I can't wait until Hank retires. Then we'll have more time. He's so oblivious. The words, clear as day, cut through the tension in the room like a razor. Brenda's own voice betraying her, she lurched out of her chair, eyes blazing, lunging for the briefcase, for the phone. You bastard! You absolute bastard! She screamed, a furious, panicked outburst. How could you? This is all your fault. You were never around. You neglected me. Jesse and Tara sat frozen, utterly silent. Their faces were a mask of devastation, shock, and confusion. The full, ugly truth of their mother's betrayal was unfolding right in front of them, dismantling their world. James Sullivan is married, Brenda, I stated, my voice cutting through her tirade. He has 2 young children. You weren't just destroying our family. You were destroying theirs too, and you used your own mother's name to do it. I pulled out my phone again, dialed 911. Yes, this is Hank Miller. I'd like to report a theft. My father's antique gold Rolex. I believe my wife, Brenda Miller, is responsible. I have proof. Brenda stared at me, disbelief warring with pure hatred. You wouldn't dare. Oh, I dare. I looked at Jesse and Tara, whose faces were now etched with a profound sadness. Jesse, Tara, go pack a bag. Both of you, you're coming with me tonight. You won't be staying here. I turned back to Brenda, my gaze unwavering. And you, Brenda, you have 1 hour to pack whatever you can carry. The police will be here shortly. You leave this house tonight, and you don't come back. The next few hours were a blur of cold, hard efficiency. Brenda, her face blotchy and tear-streaked, was a shell of the woman she'd been just an hour before. Disoriented, shamed, and utterly broken, she stumbled around, grabbing a few random items. A designer handbag, a small overnight case, while the police took my statement. She didn't argue, didn't fight. She just watched, wide-eyed as her life imploded. When the officers were done, they escorted her out, giving her a stern warning about trespassing and the active theft investigation. She left in a taxi, a pathetic figure vanishing into the night with barely more than the clothes on her back. The police were thorough. They took my statement about the Rolex, documented the empty safe, and assured me they would be contacting James Sullivan. Just hearing his name out loud, knowing his life was about to be rocked, brought a chilling satisfaction. I knew the PI's detailed report, my call logs, and Brenda's confession, caught on audio, would make their job easy. Later that night, I got a text from Carl. James Sullivan had been contacted by the police. The chain reaction had begun. I didn't know the specifics, but I knew his world was now collapsing. And not long after, Carl confirmed the devastating news had reached James's wife, Debbie. I pictured her, innocent in all this, receiving the brutal truth about her husband's infidelity and his entanglement with Brenda. Another family shattered. My stomach churned, but this time, it was more about the collateral damage than my own pain. The day after, Carl, in his capacity as my divorce attorney, filed the papers. Grounds, adultery. I made it clear that I wanted minimal spousal support for Brenda, emphasizing her blatant misconduct and the emotional distress she had caused. There was no going soft. Jesse and Tara were quiet that night, their young faces pale and drawn. They were deeply hurt, scarred by the ugliness they'd witnessed, but in their shock, they instinctively rallied around me. They clung to me, finding solace in my steady presence. We talked, not about the sordid details, but about family, about trust, about moving forward. I reiterated that the surprise I'd mentioned was indeed a new beginning, just not the one their mother had ever expected or wanted. It was a painful, honest truth. That week, the kids and I moved into the smaller bungalow on our property. It was a temporary measure, a sanctuary where we could begin the long, arduous process of rebuilding our lives, away from the ghost of Brenda's betrayal. I changed my phone number, blocked her email, and unfriended her on all social media. She tried to contact me relentlessly, but I maintained a steadfast wall of silence. I had cut her out completely. Word travels fast in our community. Brenda's actions, her affair with a married man from her own mother's facility, the theft charge, it all came out. She faced severe social ostracization. Her reputation was in tatters, her professional standing irreparably damaged. As for James Sullivan, his life was equally decimated. His employment at the facility was terminated. His marriage to Debbie ended, and his children were left reeling from the exposure of their father's betrayal. The cost of infidelity was laid bare, not just for Brenda, but for everyone she touched. My children and I, we embarked on a slow, arduous journey of healing. There were tears, anger, and countless difficult conversations. But there was also a newfound honesty, a stronger bond, and a clearer path forward into an uncertain but truthful future. The betrayal had left deep scars, but it had also forged a new beginning, one built on the raw, undeniable truth. The dust has settled, but the wreckage? That's still everywhere, NGL. Brenda's life, the one she carefully constructed on a foundation of lies, is completely toast. Socially, she's an outcast. Professionally, her career as she knew it is over. The theft charge for my father's Rolex? That sealed her fate. She tried to contact me, of course, a flurry of desperate texts and calls, but I blocked her everywhere. There's no turning back. James Sullivan's world imploded too. His marriage to Debbie ended in spectacular fashion. His kids are dealing with the fallout, and his job at the assisted living facility? Gone. His reputation? Gone. The ripple effect of Brenda's choices stretched far beyond just our family. For Jesse, Tara, and me, it's a slow, grueling process. The bungalow is home now, but the scars from that night, the ugly truth of their mom's betrayal, those run deep. We're healing day by day, trying to build a new normal based on honesty and trust. The surprise I promised them was a new beginning, all right? Just not the one any of us expected. The profound consequences of Brenda's actions are a constant, cold reminder. Betrayal leaves a permanent mark, and the cost TBH is astronomical.